Good afternoon. Welcome to day 2 of the 2025 AGTA American Gem Trade Association's Inspire Seminar Series, sponsored by the AGS, the American Gem Society. Navigating artificial intelligence's role in jewelry, from design innovation to customer connection. With us this afternoon is Jennifer Shaheen, president and founder of the Technology Therapy Group. Jennifer is a renowned digital marketing and technology expert specializing in luxury and lifestyle brands. Her expertise in digital transformation, user experience, and implementing AI and data insights is particularly relevant for businesses looking to leverage the latest tools and AI technologies for success in these creative and dynamic sectors. With over 2 decades of experience, Jennifer has been instrumental in guiding business owners in the luxury goods and lifestyle industries to adopt more efficient processes and innovative tools. A highly sought-after presenter, Jennifer has been featured on MSNBC's Your Business and has been a contributor and quoted expert in Entrepreneur.com, Forbes.com, CIO, Newsweek, the New York Times, and the Wall Street Journal. In June 2020, she joined the board of the iconic guitar manufacturer C.F. Martin and Company. And just last year, Jennifer was appointed to serve as CMO of the American Gem Society's Connecticut Guild. Please join me in welcoming Jennifer Shaheen.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for having me today. So we're going to start off with something fun. Let's make sure this is all right. All right, so question. Did anyone have a chance to see this commercial? And does everybody know why I started it with it? There we go. Exactly. And how do you guys feel about that? It's okay, you can talk to me. I don't bite. Yeah. Okay. And would somebody else say? Scared? Scared? Anything else? What's interesting is, and I think I wanted to start out with this because AI has been in fashion and design in Europe for a couple of years. And Coca-Cola was the first mainstream advertiser to launch an artificial intelligence commercial. And by the way, it did not go over well with people who were in the industry. However, consumers, it was one of their highest tested commercials. And I think the reason I'm bringing it up is because, unfortunately, AI is doing just that. It's transforming our businesses, our industry, and our customers. And so I'm going to unpack some of these things here today, and we're going to talk a little bit about all the different elements of AI to set us up, and then we're going to go through how we're doing this in our industry. So some of the ways AI or narrow AI has been working is in security, identifying issues or anomalies in break-ins, et cetera. You'll also see that autonomous vehicles, I'm not sure if anyone's been out to San Francisco, but my dad turned 80 last year, and when we were out there, we made sure we took a ride in this self-driving car, and he was like, this is amazing. And so these are some of the ways we're seeing AI around us in our everyday, outside of our industry lives. Other areas that we're seeing it in customer support are now AI-powered chat systems. So TDO is one of the better training AI chat systems for websites. You're also seeing it in email marketing software. We are Klaviyo partners. I love this email marketing system. And what it has done now is I used to have to sit there and go, do this, do this, do this, do this, and now I can just text in what I needed to do, and it makes that for me. And the AI here is helping it, at least for me when I work with my jewelry stores, segment the list so that I can focus and send information to each individual that makes it more personal. You're also seeing AI integrated into platforms like Shopify. I'm not sure if anyone has a Shopify store, but you'll see that now you have Shopify Magic, and you can use it to help you write descriptions, but it can also actually take your white background photo and put it on other backgrounds or in rooms. And I used to work with an artist out here in California, and she used to do it off of Shopify, and she actually used to pay for third-party software so she could put her art in a room so you could visualize it. And now AI is making that easier for you. And then last but not least, one of the biggest impacts we're seeing, especially in our jewelers, is their meta advertising. Meta is driving forward AI analysis and giving you more insight. And Google had actually been doing this for a while, but this past year we've noticed that Meta's really been pushing how to adjust your advertising around things and giving you good advice on what's resonating and helping you improve your visuals with AI. So in 2023, I think it's important we understand that for most of us, AI is pretty new. I mean, 2023, we had 25% adoption. And at the end of 2024, pulled out of this McKinsey study, you'll see that AI adoption is now increased to 72% globally. And so what we're seeing is that the areas that we're seeing the most of this is marketing, sales, product development, and functions. Last year I went to the Business of Fashion event in New York City, and I sat there and I listened to companies like Calvin Klein and companies in LVMH talking all about how they're iterating product design with AI and how much faster it is to move things around with artificial intelligence in the design phase. We're also seeing this in adoption side on retail with marketing. No surprise, I'm using it with my team. I'm training my team how to do this. I'm training jewelry marketing teams how to do this, customer service, and then of course inventory and supply chain. So this is really what we're starting to see. And I thought it would be helpful for everyone to understand just a little bit about AI adoption by generation. So now, this is data that I had pulled out of the study and made a chart. So I did, you'll notice in the corner of all my slides, anything that has been made with AI is credited. So this is to show you that baby boomers have actually been using AI more and more to get feedback around their home and their health. You're seeing Gen X use it around similar areas, but you're also seeing millennials work with this for business, ideas, personal shopping, and what's really interesting is Gen Z is not only using for education, but creative and emotional support. They're actually talking to the AI and getting advice from AI. Yes. So what's happening now is this is probably one of the people that I follow most because I use AI as a business owner and I work with growing businesses in the retail industry, retail stores, but I do follow other people who've been doing this a lot longer than I have, and Ethan Mollick is one of my favorites, so definitely write him down, follow him, he's amazing. But I love the fact that he really shares, and he really got my head into understanding how to use AI properly, is he says all his best ideas now come from talking to AI. And as a business owner, I'm sort of isolated at the top sometimes. I do need someone to talk to. And so this has become a tool where it really helps me think through problems that I'm having. I'm working on product development right now for our company. And so this is like, is this a good idea? And I can iterate it with the artificial intelligence. So this is now also doing it a lot faster than it used to. he released a great article that I thought would be really helpful, and I'm only going to pull out a few, but he talks about 15 times to use AI and 5 reasons not to. And you'll see here, if I can get you guys to think about this, is like work where you're an expert. So one of the things that I do, and I always do this in coaching people when they start with artificial intelligence, is you need to be the expert, otherwise you're not sure if the AI is getting it right. You need to, my husband always says this, you have to trust your tools, right? So this is a tool you have to learn to trust, and to do that you need to be the expert. Another way is it involves summarizing large amounts of information. So one of the things that I did recently with AI is I uploaded an advertising contract for one of my stores. And I asked it, I said, you know, what are some clauses that I need to be mindful of in this contract? And it pulled out certain things that I should pay attention to. It also pointed out holes that the advertiser left in their contract. I, of course, didn't tell them that, but it was helpful for me to know that they left some holes for my client to negotiate some things. When not to use AI is also, I think, really important. When you're needing to learn and synthesize something new, AI is not a great tool. And then when effort is the point, when you need to work through a problem. And so I do think there's a couple of more things here, but definitely check out that article. So I do want people to understand, I don't live with rose-colored glasses on. I absolutely know that AI has some continued risks and concerns. So I want to run through those, and then we're going to dig into some fun tests on a few things. So first off, AI has been known for misinformation or disinformation. And part of the reason that is because it is based off of information that has been out in the public. And I guess my question for you is a show of hands. How many of you would say the internet has all accurate information? And nobody's hands went up, right? Exactly, because that's part of its training data. So it is no surprise that you have been seeing some things like this. Job automations are a big concern, of course. Ethical bias and issues. One of the other areas is privacy concerns. And one of the things that's actually happened in the last few months is that you're seeing the AI systems that we're going to today have guardrails added. I recently went in to do a design element for a social media post, and it now says you cannot use people because they want to make sure when you upload you're not actually infringing on someone's privacy. And that was a brand new, because that was not there 3 months ago. So they are adapting to the concerns in the environment. And then, of course, security vulnerabilities. And as I talk through some of our artificial intelligence tools, one of the things that you'll learn to do is, if you want to use these tools, you anonymize your content. So you put the type of business, but you don't put your store name. You put the type of brand, but you may not use the actual brand. Things that you would probably put on the internet anyways, but you don't necessarily want to put your accurate information in there. This is just me letting you know that if you're going to get into this area, I really want us to remember that we don't expect 100% reliability out of a person. And yet, when these tools came out, I think I hear a lot of buzz, I still do, that people get concerned about it. I hear that people are scared. But we also have to remember that it's still something that we have to put into the hands and say, this is what it's really good for. And we really should think about how we challenge AI just like we challenge people. All right, so let's start with generative AI. So for those of you who are not familiar, generative AI is, this is the definition, is an artificial intelligence system that can create new content, data, or outputs based on patterns learned or from training data. Okay, so that's the exact definition. The top AI tools are ChatGPT, Copilot, Gemini, Claude, and Perplexity. Now, yes, there's more out there and more coming, but these are what I call our big 5. Is anyone playing with these tools? Can I get a? Excellent. Okay, awesome, great. So I grouped them together intentionally in this way. So I've given this talk before, and I switch it up a bit, but I always like people to know AIs do have a bit of a personality. And so ChatGPT and Copilot I put together because for those of you who know, ChatGPT's search system is based on Microsoft and Bing. So there's a Copilot angle to that. So ChatGPT and Copilot, I find, are what I would call your neutral AIs. They will give you back the information. They don't add any real personality or color. Now, for those of you who are playing with ChatGPT, and I do this in our training sessions, ChatGPT, you can customize it. So mine is customized. It knows my name is Jennifer. It knows what personality I want it to talk to me in. I have told it I like to be spoken to in a certain way, and I have told it that. So now when I get my content back, it gives me that kind of feedback in a tone that I know that would connect with me. So Gemini is what we would call more a modern, it's more an inclusive AI. Claude is known to be one of the best content writers. It has 3 levels, and at the paid level of each of these, you get so much more. So if you're really going to try this, I encourage you to make sure that you're doing it with a paid level. And then Perplexity is known as an answer engine. I have to admit, the only thing I go to Google anymore for is updated scores or the weather, but anything where I'm doing research or I'm digging into something, Perplexity is where I spend most of my time. It answers complex questions for me, and I can dig into it. So for those of you who are brand new to this, I thought it would be fun. So I wanted to start. Most people who are starting with AI, this is one of the first ways they do this. So I'd love to see a show of hands. If you've been playing with AI, have you ever put a prompt in? This is what I call a prompt. You type this in. It says, generate 10 ideas to market an independent jewelry store. Has anyone ever tried something like this? Excellent. Okay, perfect. Here's another one. 10 creative email subject lines for in-stock jewelry gifts. Here's one I did recently because we're hiring. Help me create pre-screen questions that can be answered with yes or no because of the system I was putting it into, right? And I have attached the job posting. It did give me really good pre-screeners. Now, these are what we would call a very simplistic or basic prompt. And when you're first starting out, most people get a little frustrated because this is how they start by prompting. This is what you want to do. So for those of you who have been doing this, so for those of you who are playing with AI, did your prompts look mostly like this? Okay, so more advanced. Great. So for those of you who are new and trying it, I encourage you to try the first way so you can see, but the second way is really to give your prompt a structure. So what you want to do when you're prompting is you want to ask it for a description of the task, give it a role to play, set boundaries for the AI, and give it some elements of context, requirements, and exclusions, okay? And at the end, I also have a QR code. You guys can get all the slides. So on the right side, you're seeing an example of one that I did, and I was using ChatGPT's Canvas mode, and it did give me some better writing, but you can see here by just laying that out. So I set up a quick screen grab for us to look at. So here's an example of a prompt. So last week on my retail tip of the day, I told people to take their online reviews and run it through AI and get some feedback. So I did that. So I downloaded the online reviews from a client, and I asked it to, task is to analyze the reviews, the role I wanted to act as a senior marketing strategist. I told it do not, under any circumstances, use any additional data or resources, because remember, at least for ChatGPT, it can open up to the web. Claude does not, so there's a difference with the feedback you'll get, and only use what is provided. And then the context I wanted was to provide me feedback about what customers like about our business, provide details about what we need to improve on, and what are the core messages we should use for our marketing. Okay, so this is what it looked like and how quickly it did it with Claude. And you'll see it analyzes it almost like through a code system. It's also one of the reasons why I use Claude a lot when I have to fix code on websites. just to give you, first off, it's a real recording. It took 25 seconds, and it reviewed 600 reviews and synthesized that information and gave me back this breakdown, okay? Now, I then went and did the same thing with ChatGPT. ChatGPT took a lot longer. Now, if you look in the far left corner, I'm in ChatGPT 4.0 mode. It is a more advanced mode, and it will give you more information. And you can see it's taking longer to do it. There we go. So the full version of this, I did cut it because I didn't want you all to sit here and watch the screen for a minute, and I think it was 20-something seconds. But a minute and 20-something seconds to read through 600 plus reviews and break down common words, common choices, and look at the difference between what I got from Claude versus what I got from ChatGPT. It's pretty impressive. And then you can actually do this. So what I recommend people do is I recommend all the time we do this with your reviews, and then we do it with local competitors. And we start to use this as a tool to analyze your competitive advantages and understanding how you would use something like that. So as you can see, it's quite quick. And then also in the corner, it actually does let you know of like any citation elements, okay? So before I move on, do I have any questions on like some of the high-end chat systems? I'm just gonna keep an eye on time. Yeah? There is a plugin you can add to your browser for free that allows you to download all your reviews. So what I did here, you can not only do with your Google reviews, but you can also do this same concept for like Instagram and exporting your content, and then have the AI analyze your styles and trends through the years. So this concept of this use is something that you might want to think about for not only copy, but visuals, and we're going to talk visuals next. I have a really big bright light in my face, so if anyone has questions, let me know. Okay, perfect. So being creative with AI. So first off, I think one of the things I hear most is that generative AI means that it's going to be the same as everything else. I saw a head nod there. And what's happening now, and actually, I don't know if anyone's been following what's happening in fashion, but the fall fashion week in Europe this past September had its first AI created designers. So clothing all created through the use of their artificial intelligence tools. And it was definitely not the same. So I think it really, like anything else, it's all about the power of the driver, the person behind the AI. Okay, so I do want to show a couple of the tools that are out there. So these are probably 6 of the ones that I see the most. Midjourney, Dolly, which is inside ChatGPT, Stable Diffusion. Adobe Firefly is a segment that's separate from Adobe's system. But as you know, inside Adobe Photoshop now you have that. Canva, and then Image FX. So I thought it would be fun because I do have clients. I have a client who's in his 70s, and he doesn't like to take photos, so he's been using AI to make prompts to create images for his social media. So he does this, not me, he does it. But here's an example. Now I did this intentionally, and I use this one because AI has not been great with fingers, if anyone knows that already. It's not really wonderful at making. But this one did a really nice job, is Image FX. You know, create an image of a couple dancing with the focus on the woman's hand, so that was intentional, showing a 3-carat diamond solitaire ring, and you can see it looks like what it did is used a pretty standard stock image and add the ring to it. Okay, probably better than something like this where you see this really looks, yeah, you can laugh, it's okay. That one's my favorite. I mean, Adobe Firefly, she's got rings on multiple fingers. And now, mind you, I did very simplistic prompts. You can, like I said with the word prompts, for copy, you want to do the same thing. You have to get more in depth, but I took the exact same prompt in its basicness, and I put it into all of them just to see how well it did. And then the last one is Dolly within ChatGPT. So, and we're again in the newer phases of this. Did anybody get a chance to see this article? Yeah, it was great. They show all about how generative AI is used for jewelry tools. And the article shows on the far right side, and I didn't do a test with Midjourney, everyone, because I don't have a Midjourney license. So Midjourney is what they used mostly inside here. And I think the thing that we have to remember as designers is to keep in mind is that I think, first off, I do think the younger generations are going to start to do this and come to you and say, hey, I made this, can you make it, okay? But one of the things I want to point out, and this was pulled out by an attorney friend of mine who's an intellectual property lawyer, and he highlighted very specifically here, and so I often caution my stores with the use of Midjourney because specifically you're giving them your royalty-free license. So if you are going to play with some of the AI design tools, so within DALL-E and other AI elements, you can turn things off. So please make sure you note that as you're looking at these elements of design tools. Has anyone seen the fun new Sora? Okay, so Sora was launched December 9th of 2024, and it's a really amazing creative editing suite. It is, again, part of ChatGPT. You do have to go to ChatGPT. It's actually OpenAI./Sora. So it is a separate URL. You can log in with your paid version of ChatGPT, and you can create videos right away. You can get some ideas. And so I made this. They launched this thing called Storyboard. What I love about Storyboard is one of the things that I teach is storytelling to my stores. So when you storyboard something, it's easier for you to get your story out. And so I made a quick story about a pink sapphire, which is what I have, coming out of a flower and turning. And I said, because I asked it to do something with people, and it wouldn't let me because it has privacy restrictions now. And this is what it gave me. What do you think? It's pretty impressive. Now, if you're a small store and you can't afford to do a lot of custom video, you can think of things like this as a way to maybe put something into a Facebook ad. Or you might use something like this in your social media to put a message. Remember, video is what captures the eye. It might be the opener, and then you could transition into items that might be something different for you. But why I wanted to show it is because, as you can see, it's gotten really, really impressive. And if you're curious, Sora has been the competitor what's called Runway. So it's no surprise there was somebody already out there. I grabbed that from someone who did a very great side-by-side. But as you can see here, you know, one of the things I think I like most is, of course, the realism. And as the first video we saw, which was Coca-Cola, it was supposed to look like an animation. But as you can see by some of those side-by-sides, the goal was to make them look more realistic. Okay, so I want you to ask yourselves, how can I use AI to strengthen my customers' experience? So we're going to talk a little bit about what's happening now and shopping changes on the horizon. Every time I talk about the big guys out there, Amazon, I know we don't all love them, but you know, here's the thing, is Amazon's new AI guide can help shoppers find what they need. The thing about Amazon is they train people, their consumers, to want certain things. So many businesses, right, we've had to change or adjust or adapt because of it. Walmart is actually looking at creating a unique homepage for each shopper. So if the bigger companies are starting to do this and lean into artificial intelligence for high-end personalization, what can we do to compete and also show our clients that we understand their needs? So I want to start with AI for improved customer experience in the area of personalization. So first off, Fabulous book. It just came out in 2024. It's brand new, but he has been working with AI for quite a few years, and he talks and gives case studies in multiple different industries on how people have been using AI for personalization. But 71% of customers are frustrated by impersonal shopping experiences. So the way we solve this is by going beyond collecting the basic data. You guys can go back and do this now. Don't just ask for name and email address and wedding date and birth date. Find out more about your customers and put that into your point of sale system and start putting it into other tools so that you can customize things, because it's not difficult to do even if you do print. If someone said, well, I do postcards, I would say, great. If you knew every customer liked a different kind of stone, with print runs, you could tell it to send different stones on every postcard. We've been able to do this kind of thing for a while, but we don't have the data. And so that's one of the best places I could say, if you walk away with nothing else from today, this is one of the biggest areas. Use AI-focused tools to implement audience segments based on that. So make sure you're not just sending one email out, you're sending maybe 2, 3, 4 out, so you can at least start to segment. I guarantee you will see an uptick in people being like, oh, I feel like she was talking to me. Absolutely. Now, on the right here, there's a new company that I found online called Maverick, and it's very cost effective. What they do is you record a video of you, and you send it to them, and at the very beginning, they're giving you a spot to leave a blank in there, and you gave them your customers' first names, and everyone gets their name added to the video. Have you guys ever seen something like this where they're now adding personalization? Now, you may not do this for every client, but if you did it for your top-end clients, wow, that's that high touch that we do in our industry, and I think is so important. And it'd be a great way to connect with individuals. Another thing that you may want to be looking at is tools for your website that help customers understand better shopping. So for example, most people like it when companies are more proactive. So personalized product recommendations happening based on what they're looking at on your website. Proactive online chats. One of the things that I tell people all the time is look at the data on your website. See where people are dropping off. Maybe your chat system could pop up and put up a frequently asked question that often happens. Maybe it's because they're not scrolling down to see your return policy. Maybe they need to feel more comfortable, so why not use artificial intelligence to help with that? Okay, I challenge everybody to start today to look for new tools and make a plan to try them. So consumer data now around AI shopping tools is growing, and I thought it would be really helpful to see that as of right here, you can see 2024, you can see that Generation Z is 73% of them are looking for AI shopping features. And then, as you can see, each of the other generations are all interested in AI shopping features. So if you look at the trajectory of your customers and you think about how people are growing, we have to think about, we have to what? Meet people where they are. So some of this is to help us understand what our customers are looking for. So I hypothesized at JCK when I gave my AI talk that I think Generation Z is going to become Generation AI. I really feel that way because they like and they're not afraid to use these tools, and they want to iterate their own styles. So I have brought this up many a time. It is my gift to most of my stores, but I say to them all the time, you know, when you do custom design, don't be afraid to maybe look at some tools in artificial intelligence. So yes, I know you're going to do things with CAD and you're going to do it in your wax, but maybe you could sit down and create things together. Maybe use some of the other tools that are out there. So this is a couple of specific tools that you might look at. Or you might even open up ChatGPT and go into the custom GPTs and see, they type in engagement ring and you can see there are all these engagement ring builders inside here. Now I bring this up because if you're not doing it, what? Someone else is going to. So I found someone else who was doing it, by the way. This is a store I found online. They got a little press from it, so obviously that's how I found it. September of 2024, the jewelry store actually has on their website an AI custom jewelry designer. It's embedded right in. And what you do is they give you the steps, and I went through, and I put in my prompt. I show you. I usually do most things with pink sapphire. And it didn't get my jewelry quite the way I envisioned it, but it wasn't bad for a short, quick prompt. So I bring this up because, again, the store is doing it. I don't know what his return on investment is on it yet, but it's a fun way for him to engage. I see you nodding your head like, yeah, because it does. It pulls you in. By the way, I couldn't use the tool without giving him my name and my email address. So that was also helpful. This is another website that I found. It's called Will You, and it is a very basic AI. It is not generative AI, but the fact that it says it's using AI may pull in the younger generation to try it. If you want to check it out, I encourage you to look at it. It is not a generative system. It is a very traditional narrow AI system, but the thing is, it's a way to what? Connect with a generation who's looking for these tools. Last but not least, something that I think is important to notice is a new company that launched called Arcade.ai, and this is basically launched because you can actually go here and do a rug or jewelry. So you can make your own rug or you can make your own jewelry. And yes, it's simple jewelry. It's not to the quality that most of you are making, but I think it is foreshadowing what's happening. They actually have, the prompt is on the far right in case you're interested. They walk you through it, and then they have you submit it, they give you a cost, and then they outsource it to different people around the globe who can make that. And they also have set it up, and it was put in the article, that the AI is programmed to avoid replicating trademark designs for copyright infringement. So they already put the guardrails in. But the reason I put it in today's presentation is because this is no longer what's coming, it's what? It's here. And I think it's important that we be paying attention to that. Okay, so a couple of other AI tools that I think most of you may or may not know, but I think they're important, is Google Lens. Does anyone use Google Lens? Awesome. So 20 billion searches have now gone on using Google Lens every month. So just so you know, this is actually a new way for people to search. And Google has been releasing a lot around this, and now you'll notice it's even built right in. It's so easy in the browser. Even on my desktop computer, it's doing it. So 20% of Google Lens searches are shopping related. So I actually encourage you to take elements of your own inventory and do exactly that. So for those of you who never used this, this is exactly how it is. This is my husband's watch. I did that, and then it found different places. So do some of things in your inventory. So one, you can see what else is out there, and two, you can see how other people might be shopping. Okay? It's a great way for you to do some research, but also you might even do that so that you know. Remember how people would come in and go, I saw this diamond on Blue Nile. Well, same thing, right? They'll see these things online, but they're not always looking at the detail. Okay? GEO is here. You heard me mention Perplexity, and ChatGPT has a search feature. That's what they call generative engine optimization. So for those of you who are new to this is optimizing your website's content to be found more inside of things like Copilot, SearchGPT. I actually always remind people that if you're not indexing yourself in Bing because it wasn't a big search engine before, remember that Copilot and ChatGPT are using the Bing system. So important takeaway, go get your websites indexed in Bing, okay? And Gartner is predicting that by 2026, you're gonna see a 25% volume of search increase here. I use it more than I use Google now for so much. I, by the way, did my car shopping this way. So I could compare and contrast elements of different vehicles. It made my life a lot easier. So a couple of tools. I think probably we saw the general tools, but other things that are out there that are super interesting. So Brand24 is a social listening and monitoring tool. So if you're looking to understand what people are saying about some of the brands that you purchase or your business. Hey Orca is a way to use AI to help you schedule and get the most out of things. And then if you just need help making some things, aside from the tools that we've already talked about, here's one that actually will take things for creating social media carousels. I mentioned this to one of the writers that I talked to yesterday because I said, this would be great for articles so people would get little bite-sized things. You guys could do this the same way, make a card for different things people need to know about each of the gemstones that you're picking up. This is probably one of the biggest areas that we're seeing is AI cleanup. So I've used Adobe Firefly to go in because clients want to change the background, and this is a great way to do it. It doesn't remove it. It puts a gray background in or whatever color you want. So this is a fabulous, easy to use tool. You can see it's just like an eyedropper. Remember garbage in, garbage out. So obviously if you're doing something on your photos, like where you have a photo on a white background, but if it's not really clear, so this one's easy because it's gold. But if it were silver on a white, you might have a harder time with that. So we do have to remember that. And I just typed in, put it on a gray background, and it gave me 3 or 4 different kinds of grays so that I could then repeat this task over and over. Okay. CapCut is mostly known for people who are on TikTok, but it is a really great tool for editing together videos. And then if you're going to do any talking head videos, which by the way, people love to see you, right? But put the captions on. I've noticed since I put captions on things, what a difference it does in connecting and getting people's attention. So Submagic is a little more expensive. You see over there, if anyone knows, that's Simon Sinek. He's used Submagic. Adobe Express has a free version of this if you have an Adobe license. So definitely do stuff like this. It can be a great way to get people's attention on social. And these are just a couple of things I want you guys to think about as opportunities to use AI in your business. There's so many things we can do. So, what's that?
Oh, can you go back to
I can. There is a QR code at the end, and you guys can get the slides, I promise. So the next wave of AI has arrived, and yes, I made this one in DALL-E. I thought it came out pretty good, actually. I was pretty impressed with this one. Agentic AI is now here. We've been hearing about agentic AI for a while, and what it is, as you can see, is basically an AI system that can independently take actions to achieve a particular goal, and it's basically becoming autonomous. And so inside ChatGPT now, I have 2 tasks that are auto-scheduled that send things to me every day, and it goes out on the web. So I have a task. So for anyone who uses ChatGPT, get into tasks. I have it search the web and send me every day at 4:30. I want to know all the articles that are out there on AI and jewelry and luxury and fashion. And so that comes into my inbox every day at 4:30, and I love that. So basically, most of what we've been living through before 2023, before a lot of us got into ChatGPT, et cetera, was traditional AI, okay? And we talked a lot today about generative AI, which, as you can see, more content generation, moderate autonomy. And now with agentic AI, you're seeing that really it's going to start reasoning. And it's going to do that based on the things that you train it on, of course. But eventually, it will make decisions on its own. And it's not going to be any different than, trusting a team member to answer the phone call and give feedback about a policy or procedure that you might have. And that's why a lot more of the chat systems are going into the agentic side of things. I had to put this in because most people know DeepSeek came out, so I did want to make sure everyone is aware. Big deal. And I've been watching videos. I will not put it on. I do have a wiped laptop, but I actually don't want it on our network at home. I would probably try it on another network, but I do want to point out that it talks about that you cannot turn off its training data. So for all of you to know, in ChatGPT, in Claude, you can actually stop it and say, I don't want to keep training the model. I don't want to give back to the system. You can protect your information. Inside DeepSeek, you cannot do that. And they also point out in here, which is that the servers are held in China. So if anyone's been interested in this, I would caution you, if you were going to do it, please make sure you try it on a wiped system and be careful on the networks that you're testing it on. But you will start to see that the thing that's really important about this is they developed something close to ChatGPT at the basic level for a fraction of the price. And that's why this was such a big deal. So I encourage you guys to start thinking about transforming and really buying into AI. And think about some of the behavior changes that you may need to make to adopt some of these systems. So my recommended next steps for you are identify places that your business needs to start leveraging AI. Pay attention to changes, improvements, and consumer usages around the tool. Ask your customers what they're doing. Create an AI policy for yourself and your team. Experiment with AI tools. Review platform policies, of course, and then value your process and identify ways AI can be a partner to your success. Do I have any questions? Yeah.
One of the, well, we're not familiar with AI, don't use it, and may see might be able to, but I guess a concern that we have, and maybe it's no found, I guess I'm trying to get to the question. That we don't, most of our business is custom, and we don't like to share our designs or ideas or let our, what we call our magic be co-opted by some kind of a search engine.
Right.
And is that something that we should have a concern about or be fearful of, or is it?
So let's talk that out. I love that question. And so let me reiterate the question. So you don't put your own custom designs up even on your website because you're afraid of it being indexed by search engines, correct? Is that accurate? So the thing about this is, and by the way, for those of you who heard, I've been in this area a really long time, right? So people used to feel the same way about, social media and everything else, and now more and more people have gotten into putting them out there, right? At the end of the day, your custom designs, your customers take them home, do they not? Right? They don't stay with you. So do they photograph them? Right? So we have to think about this. I just bring that up because, I wouldn't use a tool like Midjourney if you are, but you can actually look at some tools that may allow you to iterate the process that would not be online, but would still leverage artificial intelligence. So even within the ChatGPT system, if you look at those custom GPTs, if you were to consider something like that, you want to check the policy. If it says that it sends the information of what you create back, then that's not going to be the right tool for you. I would look at another tool that is going to allow you your elements of privacy, just similar to like your CAD system would if it's something that you're running in store. Okay? What's that? Sorry. Any other questions? No? Yeah.
We've done a lot of analysis, but we find, I believe, what people like most about our store, they didn't come in, they like this stuff. They like what we have. But they like us.
Yeah.
They like us. They like the way we interact with them. And that is what we get all the time, is they just like us.
Right.
And I don't know how to market that. That's word of mouth. That's putting your products out and people, talking about your products.
So the way we've had this happen, so before AI existed, I had a store in California, and they loved Jack and Christine, and they're business partners. And Jack was, there was the jewelry box of Lake Forest. I know the industry sometimes can be a little small. I don't know if anyone knows them, but we got them to do videos to put their personality out. If you're trying to get your story out, I would encourage you to do something like that. But the greatest thing about these kinds of tools to bring it kind of back around is you can just record something and it can do the transcript for you, so that when somebody's scrolling through in your community and they know you and they're like, oh, I know this person, and they could stop and watch, and then they show it to a friend. So I think there are some ways where you might leverage a tool like this to help you continue to help spread your word of mouth. Because remember, for a lot of people, social media is just a different version of word of mouth, especially in small communities. Okay? Do I have any other questions? Does anybody want to add any context to what they learned today? Did you find this helpful? Yes. Okay. What was one thing you didn't know that you were like, whoa?
I didn't realize how many different tools there were, and how you can kind of loop in all of the different tools to do different tasks. I thought that was pretty interesting. I've played around with a lot of the different AIs just for like asking questions and creating pictures, but I didn't really realize that you could set it off to go automate things
Yes.
or edit videos and that sort of thing. It seems pretty interesting because I don't know anything about video editing, so if I can get an AI to do it for me, that's fine. You know, I don't need to learn that.
I appreciate you sharing that. Did everybody hear? You did beautiful projection there, by the way. So the integration of the multiple tools was helpful. And you're not a video editor, which you mentioned, and now you can at least try it. But I bet you're a storyteller, because if you do, she's laughing, I guess you're a storyteller. Anyone else want to share something they learned today? You can shout it out. The room is big, but there's not as many people in it, so feel free to share. I heard that. So you said, you really don't look at the website, but you think you have to start learning these things. There's a QR code there. And if you all scan it, you'll get a copy of the slides. And then we actually will send you some information about our AI trainings as well. And if anybody has like one-on-one questions you're just not comfortable asking, please feel free to reach out. I am here through Saturday, and I'd love to chat. And thank you guys for taking time out and learning something new. I applaud you.